I was panicking. As much as I was grateful for all the attention and everything that got to me, I was just panicking. Like I did not know how to deal with this, with fame coming from a small town, for so much attention all the time, and so much. It's a career that's completely superficial in some way. Like what you're looking at is my body, and I'm there to shut up and not demonstrate any emotion. It was sois belle et tais-toi.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Except, was it? I mean, you pushed those boundaries.
I did, but
And
I still, I did, and I was a little punk. Like wow, I look at myself now, the way I acted then, and I think, my goodness, what a little brat.
no, you weren't a brat, but you made your presence felt. That's so you might
Yeah.
have been panicking, but you were, yeah, you're
Yeah,
still
it
great to be
was
yourself.
the contrast between the two, like the rebellion and the panic, like a little bit of both. And I wanted to be like, I was looking at Claudia Schiffer and Christy Turlington and Linda Evangelista, and to me they were women. They were so pretty and so feminine, and they knew how to pose and how to walk, and it was so beautiful. And I was not that at all. I was like thump, 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 skirt cussing every 2 words, like just. So I wanted to be them. Like my alter ego was just like, I want to be feminine. I want to be beautiful. I want to be. So to me, I think my view on myself was, it's tough to be born in the 70s and in a small town in the hicks of Quebec and to be gay. It's tough to compare myself to supermodels who were utterly feminine, and I was just a little boy, but I did not let myself be gay because to me it was wrong to be that. So it was all kinds of, yeah,
Ev, how
beautiful mess I was.
that's goodness. What what I mean, what level of consciousness did you have about it? And were you hiding? Were
I
you
was
worried
not
about going to
conscious.
photographers?
I'm 53 now, and I've at 53 you have a lot of realizations about your life, and you can truly look back and see, this is how this happened. This is why I was all pissed off. I was just, mm, I had kept the secret of being gay for so long hidden inside of me that I was all pissed off at the world because the world to me was not welcoming me the way I was. To me, I was not fitting in any molds.
Yeah, but there were those people watching fashion television, for instance, who were sitting at home and they sensed all of that in you. And, I meet them, and they talk to me, and it's not just like, oh, gee, we really liked fashion television. They're grown people with big fashion executive jobs tear up because it was visceral how they felt represented and they felt seen, being able to see
Right.
you working out whatever it was you didn't think you were working out on the runway. Amazing.
Well, that's great. That's the
Yeah,
best compliment ever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What level of consciousness was it? Something that you were afraid you just hadn't really even sort of started to embody that, or were you is something was it on another level were you thinking you had to hide? I'm thinking of going to photography shoots and all of the sexual kind of tension and games in even posing for a picture. Like, was how did all that play out for you?
I think I was always very comfortable in front of the camera, and I never saw being naked in front of a camera as sexual or sensual. I saw it more as an artist. Like I grew up in a family of artists, and to me it was une démarche artistique. So I never saw it like this. Perhaps some people did, and good on them. But I think uh I don't know. I don't think, I was a drug user as well. I was all kinds of things that I didn't even know I was. And probably everything was happening because of everything. It was like, I don't know where is it the chicken or the egg? Like, I don't know if the drug abuse, made me more pissed at the world or more like I was very, I didn't want to mix with anybody because I felt like I didn't belong. I don't know if it's that or the fact that I was gay and I was hiding, and I was in a very not good relationship at all, a very toxic relationship at the time. So there was a lot going on behind the scene for me. But um to know that I've inspired someone, even one person, and you're doing this with this podcast and all the other projects that you do, because yes, it's art and it's just expressing yourself, but you're touching people, and to have given, whether it's hope or inspiration or strength, or
All
it's
of it.
nothing better than this. Like that, no amount of money will compare to that. And that's probably why you're doing this project and all your other projects.
Yeah,
Comes
yeah.
from the heart.
Yeah, oh yeah, from the heart. But I'm just thinking about all of that confusion that you were experiencing, and frankly, sometimes you really did just like stomp out there, and it didn't seem like somebody who was comfortable in their skin some days, on a
No, it
runway.
wasn't.
But just think how that spoke to communicated. Like it's horrible. You had to go through it, but it's amazing that you were able to communicate things that people couldn't exactly express themselves, and be a comfort to people. It's really
But
something.
it's lovely that, all of this turmoil or tsunami I was living inside of me made it probably it transcended in the photos that I took, in the way I walked on the runway, the way I talked, everything. It was just this, you know this turmoil inside, and perhaps that's what touched the other people, because they could sense that they have the same turmoil inside, or emptiness.
Yeah.
um
But was it also kind of like super fun and really glamorous? You should remember.
it's a very hard, I don't know, from your side, I imagine it's just as hard. But it's sadly enough, it's not that glamorous, because people think that everything is paid for and people give you stuff, and you're well treated. Like, come on, none of the above. And there's no union, no syndicate that protects us in Supermodels. So you bang yourself. One time, I remember there was a shoot, and they asked me to lay in the tall grass in my little skimpy dress, and we were 2 hours away from town, no bathroom, no places to change, no nothing. And it was l'herbe à puce, the thing that itches.
Oh no, oh no.
Yeah. It was awful. I was all red, and it was burning, but I had the shoot to do. Like, sois belle et tais-toi.
Oh
So
yeah,
I did the whole shoot with that, but no medicine, no nothing. We
yeah,
had a shoot. The show must go on.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, and I guess
imagine
if
the
you
same
wanted
with you.
success, you had to keep it together.
Yeah, it's a short career for models. I don't know for you, journalists, but for us, it's like 2 minutes. So, yeah, you can complain and go back home and cry, but you're not going to come in tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't expect to be there or to be called or to be even seen by anybody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So somehow with all of that, you kept it together enough to keep,
You too.
Working.
You had 3 kids.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Like, you do it, and everybody else that have difficult jobs, they keep it together. And like, I'm not to be pitied more than anybody else. It's just all of this turmoil that I was talking about, or tsunami or emptiness that I felt inside, made me who I am today. It brought me to where I am today. And I would not be grateful as I am today to have had this opportunity to be a supermodel, to be known elsewhere, to work with Karl
Around the
Lagerfeld.
world, let's face it.
Yeah. So to have this opportunity opened doors for me like crazy, but it also brought me to my rock bottom. And then I started recovery, and now I'm a counselor in a treatment center, an addiction counselor. And all of this would not have happened if I didn't have the modeling career. So thanks to Jean Paul Gaultier. He's the one that started it all.
Yeah. I am just thinking that the people who get the privilege of having you for a counselor are very lucky. Are
I don't
very
know.
lucky.
I'm
Yeah.
just a counselor like any other.
Wow. And you went to school and you trained and you did all that
Yeah.
stuff to qualify and it was, what I mean, I can imagine why you did it, but can you explain why you said I gotta do this?
Because of the pandemic, I lost everything, because I give conferences now, and I'm a DJ. I've been
Well,
a
I'm going to be
DJ,
asking you about the DJ.
and I give conferences, and I wrote a book, and I'm a little more on that side, but it's still artistic stuff. And when the pandemic happened, I lost everything. I saw my calendar being emptied. And I thought, wow, how futile is my job. So I sat down, and I thought, okay, what would I like to do? Because I do not have a bio. Like, if you look at my experience, I have a 5th grade high school, and that's it. Like, no experience as normal work. Like, I know that I'm good team player, but I don't have anything to prove it. No one can call an employer to say, like, nothing. I have nothing. I'm pretty. That's about
You
it.
are.
Give me that job. I'm pretty. So yeah, so I thought, okay, what would I, and I didn't even know what I liked, because I was told to go there and to smile and not smile, and to do this and not this. So I forgot who I was in, or I don't think I got to know myself, like what I like, what I dislike, what I want. And so it took me months. I made lists and researched and whatever, and I ended up thinking counselor, addiction counselor fits me, and I love my job. Fudge, I love it.
Bet you're so good at it.
I don't know, but I love it.
So when you finished modeling, it took a long time before you started to do the counseling. So there's another whole a stage in your career. You're a really successful DJ.
Yeah.
So how did that all, what's your name and how did that develop? And I believe in New York. And
So listen to the story. It's a bit long, so you can cut through it at when you're editing. But basically, in 2004, New Year's 2004-5, a friend of mine from New York called me and told me that she was gonna make me more famous as a DJ than I was as a model. And naturally, I laughed in her face, thought she was freaking crazy, and I hung up on her. And my only experience as a DJ at that time was a friend of mine was an owner of a club called Pangea in New York, and every Thursday night they would have a karaoke night. So he called me up one Thursday and he said, "My DJ is sick. Can you bring some CDs and you DJ before karaoke?" So it was no pressure, because before karaoke, who cares? But I'm kind of pretty, and at that time, there's no girls doing DJing. So a club promoter was there that night, and I played horribly, mind you. I don't freaking know. It's the owner of the club that told me, okay, this is the button play, and this is the same button is stop. And these are the volumes. So play stop volume is all I knew. You put the CD there, you press play, and you raise the volume. Then when you're done, you go to the other side, play stop volume. So it's easy. So this guy comes up in the DJ booth and he's like, do you want to DJ for me on Saturday? Club called Suede. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm so not a DJ, so no. Like, can't you tell I'm quite horrible at it? It might be pretty, but that's pretty much it. And he's like, yeah, it's Saturday, it's Suede, it's like in the meatpacking district, it's a nice club, like it's, you know, it's quite famous, And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know how to play. Like, I'm not nothings. And so he's like, you know, I pay you 1,000, you play an hour. And I'm like, what's the address? Tell me what time. So peak time at midnight, I'm supposed to play from midnight to 1. I don't know how to play. And I keep on telling him, and he doesn't seem to listen, but $1,000 will get me to go anywhere. So I go there, I arrive with 2 CDs. Like, I'm all prepared. I'm going to play all one, you know, song number 1 from this, number 2 here. So all the pairs and on, you know. And so I get in and I realize that it's the VIP club of New York. And the VIP section happens to be right next to the turntables. Like, it's literally right there. And who's there? Justin Timberlake, who's celebrating his girlfriend's birthday, Cameron Diaz. And they're there with 10 other like super famous people. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to play. And at that time, he was really famous with all these songs. Like, he was everywhere. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. So I go to see the DJ who's like, and he does all kinds of things. And I'm like, yo, teach me right now. He's like, yeah, no, not so much. So DJing, I learned that night, is like playing an instrument. You have to practice and practice and practice. Like, you don't go to Carnegie Hall to play violin if you never touched a violin. So that's where I was. And after 3 songs, the promoter came to me and said, please stop playing, here's your money. And that night I became a professional club emptier. I empty a club in 3 songs. So Carrie calls me a month later or so, and she's like, I'm gonna make you a DJ. And I'm like, Carrie, I don't know how to play. Like, I'm terrible at it. And she's like, be fine. She calls me the day after. She's sober now. And she's like, oh, it's going to be in Vegas. I'm dealing the contract now. You're going to be paid X, Y, Z, and la, la, la. And I'm like, yeah, but Carrie, I don't know how to play. And she's like, you'd be fine. She booked me 7 months in Las Vegas. And the day that I was arriving in Las Vegas, she booked like this huge club. Like, there was 1,500 people in there. And it's like, flyers everywhere. Eve Salvail, Supermodel, is becoming a DJ, la la la, and everybody. The club was packed. It was like big news for them. Again, no girl was doing that, and I was kind of famous. So, club is filled with people, and yeah, 3 songs. 3 songs. I emptied the club. There was only the staff. And Carrie in the middle of the dance floor with her flute like this, like, oh my God, I'm so screwed. And that's it. But I had an ego, and I did not like that it was terrible. I was so bad. So I practiced for 5 years. I practiced 5 hours a day. Every day I would wake up and do tick, tick, fur, and then tick, tick, fur. 20
Wow.
years later now.
Wow. So you really put your mind to it and learned it.
Like, at some point you get good at DJing, and basically you can control the club. So you can send people to the bathroom or to the bar or to the dance floor, and it's fun for that. Like, you really, the same emotions you have when you go to a music show is a bit of the same on the dance floor.
Yeah, it's a bit of a superpower. I felt like I might have read that you said you played music for the girls, because then the girls will get up and, okay.
All right, girl, you're good. Yep. Because the boys, they're the ones that spend money. And if the girls dance, the boys will stay.
Oh,
It's,
there's a lot of strategy.
if you want the club to make money, you play for the girls.
That's so interesting. That's
It's
so
messed up, but it's true.
so what your DJ name is Evalicious?
Yes, like in Delicious.
Yeah, and
It
you
was an
DJ'd.
app back in the 90s. I don't know if you remember, it was Pimp My Name. You know, there was Pimp My Ride, and there was an app that was Pimp My Name, and I entered my name and it said Evalicious, and I was like, yeah.
Done. So you DJ'd a lot in New York. Did you live in New York a fairly long time?
23 years.
Yeah. You DJ'd all over the place. I know that, I remember noticing last year, whenever it was, that you opened for Duran Duran. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
go, Ev." And that wasn't even the first time, right?
No, no, I did a lot of shows and new albums. Like that was the launch of a new album that they were releasing. And yeah, I've done many of them. I don't know, they're very, very sweet with me. They always were.
So now you can keep people in a place, though. You've got that down.
Now,
They don't.
I mean, 3 songs and you're on the dance floor. There's no way.
Wow, wow. So then you decided you wanna come home.
Yeah, my daddy was you know, my parents were getting a bit older, and I realized at some point that well, I knew that all along, but I basically couldn't. So it took me a couple of maybe 3, 4 years to get things together to be able to move back to Canada to spend time with my family. And my daddy had cancer, so I wanted to spend as much time as possible with him, knowing that he was gonna pass. And he passed a year ago. And I'm so happy to have spent so much time with him.
Yeah.
Love my daddy.
Yeah, I feel like I've read that I think it's your parents sound like they were just great, that when you were in Tokyo and you shaved your head and you got the tattoo, you phoned them and they said, "Great."
Yeah,
They
my dad
were
thought
just
it was not original to just be the first shaved model, so I was all disappointed. And came up with the idea of the tattoo on the head, and that he loved. He was so impressed, and it's not normal for parents to be like this, but
Yeah, I'm thinking that probably the people who saw you arrive in Paris, would have said the odd person might have thought, "What would her parents have thought?" And I just think it's so
yeah.
great that they loved it.
And it's the opposite. They
'Cause
freaking
it
love it.
really
They were so proud.
'Cause it really was very shocking, wasn't it? It was a really strong
What?
look, and yeah,
Oh yeah, it was very shocking. And in some religion as well as some cultures, tattoo even today is not really appreciated, to say it like that. On the head, on a woman. But at the same time, you know, the first year that I was doing runways, I had a woman come to me. I think her name is Helen. Um, and she wrote a book, and I have the book here somewhere, but she wrote a book and she wanted to meet me to tell me that I helped her throughout her cancer, because she said before you started walking for Chanel and everything, having cancer meant a woman would lose her hair and she'd have to wear a wig, and it was like shameful to walk out with no hair. But then it became fashionable to do, and I never thought of that before. And I was like, oh my God, this is such, it's so fantastic. Like without even knowing it or wanting it, I had some kind of a beautiful influence somewhere. So I remember I was like, oh my God, this is the best compliment I could ever hear from anyone. And she said she took a magazine with my tattoo and she cut it out and she would stick it on her head. And
wow,
she said, you gave me courage to go through cancer. And when she came, like she had hair and everything was done with, but like to know that I could be some kind of inspiration, just like I said before at the beginning, like to be inspiring to anyone, just one person, it's the best compliment ever. That's like, that's why I live.
yeah. Yeah, I have that sense about the way you live your life. Um, but let's just talk for a second. Jean Paul Gaultier, amazing, and you were a muse, and you embodied so much of what he was trying to say. And then it got really wild when you were walking on the Chanel runways. Like that was so great. That was so great. It was so incongruous and fabulous. And
I know in the news they were saying like they were calling me Martian and all kinds of like people were really shocked that I was it was big for 1991, 1992. Like it was completely shocking for everybody. Like just I don't think people knew how to deal with me. You know, it was just like, what the F? Like you could see someone with torn up jeans and a little attitude and whatever, but I was like way more in your face than that. Like it was time 20,000. Like, what the F is this? I didn't realize that it was so out there crazy, like eccentric at the time. I thought I was normal. It's funny, eh? I thought I was completely like, what? I don't understand why you think that this is so special. Like to me, I was completely normal. And I look at videos, and even today, I think I'm wild. Like if I was with that look today, it's just like, what the F is going on here?
yeah, no, people don't look like that now. No,
Yeah,
no,
crazy.
no. And we spoke a bit earlier about models and the way things have changed. When I show my movie, it has lots of different resonations for people. And um, for instance, when I was in, it was an early place I showed it. It was last summer in Berlin in this underground club, and it was really amazing. And Andreas Bernhardt, who did all the makeup at Mugler, was there, and I was so nervous he wouldn't like the film, and he liked it. Um, but there were models there, these beautiful, wonderful women, and they at the end of the movie they came and spoke to me, and they were crying, and they said they were just so moved, and I couldn't quite figure it out, and they said it's because they were so inspired to see how free everybody was, and they were just like, "It's a mantra for me now. I'm gonna try to trust that I can be myself a little bit more on set." So, d things you really opened a lot of things up. It was tumultuous, and it was difficult in lots of ways, but that sense of joy and I'm trying this and I'm gonna be me, it
It
has
was
transcended time, like, that was a golden period.
that was fun. That was like so much fun to exactly like you said, to be able to be myself and to be not only appreciated, but to be launched like on top of everything like that, you know?
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. And today it's more trend. People are following the trend and we go this way. Us, none of us looked like the other. We were just like, whatever. It was just eclectic. I remember New York back then was absolutely crazy. Like
Yeah.
people were just like, what? Backstage, you look at footage backstage, people were dressed like just, and it's 7:30 in the morning, and people were like feathers and like a dog and someone with a crocodile, and just like, what is going on? 7:30, people.
Oh, it's so funny. But
That's art. I think it was more art back then because exactly that, like people did what they felt like doing, and Jean Paul did that. Like he would do a whole collection out of garbage, a whole collection out of feathers, like just just because. And it would he would take the slightest little piece of dust on the floor and make it so glamorous and fabulous, and Thierry Mugler did the same. Like it was just like, how did you come up with that? And even today, you take any Mugler stuff from the 90s and 80s, and the same with Jean Paul Gaultier, and it's still like, whoa, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's way ahead.
But it's not, times have changed, makes me feel old.
Oh, we're not old at all. Okay, so you still do some modeling, and I need to so tell me about modeling, and if you still like it, and I know you've done Reitmans, so I know you do some,
Yeah.
but I think there's another project really close to your heart that I need to talk about, the Fondation. So fill me
Yeah.
in on modern day Eve, who is not old.
Well, modeling, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but times have changed a lot, and it's not like I do a little bit. Ratemans, I have a very special relationship with them. I love them to bits, but yeah, I don't say yes to everything just because I've done my career. I've been on top. I don't regret. I don't want to go back. I don't want to be, well, yeah, I'd love to be young again, and that stupid skin right there, I would get rid of that for sure. But yeah, I don't know. And times have changed, like it, sadly to say, but it doesn't pay as much as before. And there's still no syndicate, and there's still no union, and there's still nothing to protect you. So you go there, you wait 9 hours, nobody feeds you, everybody gives a darn about you. And you do like I did a thing in Paris a few years back, and for the picture that I took, I had to wait about 12 hours sitting on the floor, no chair, nobody gave me water or anything, like nobody cared. And we started shooting at 3 in the morning. So that, like that 12 hours that I waited was from 3 p.m. on to 3 a.m. Like, no, I'm too old for that.
It's not
I,
very appealing.
no, I don't, like, and when I was young, I didn't, it was like for the love of fashion and the art and everything. But maybe if I didn't have such a great career, I would want to do stuff like this. But I had such a great career, and I think it's fantastic. But unless it's Jean Paul Gaultier, Ratemans, like a few people that I absolutely adore working with, I don't want to be in these conditions. So I'd rather make less money, but choose what I do and do it with, like, enjoy what I'm doing. So, and that's why the foundation, that's why the conferences, that's why DJing I love, but I only do corporate now and a few little opening, but I don't do clubs anymore because I don't drink, and it's a whole different vibe that I don't want anymore. But it's fun because as you grow older, and I think everybody's like that, as you grow older, you learn to put your limits where you need to, say no to things that you don't really want to, and you get to know yourself and what you really want, and you get to choose what you really want. I'm so much happier being 53 because I'm so much calmer inside. Like everything is so much, like I enjoy the little things in life, and I'm so happy now. I wasn't happy, I think, back then.
Mhm.
And as much as I was grateful for what was happening to me, and I was enjoying it, and I sometimes miss it even, um, I don't think I was happy inside. Hmm.
Mm. So the foundation, you're doing something really ambitious and it sounds so beautiful. Where are things that describe this initiative and why are you doing it?
We're helping anybody that's a victim of domestic violence relax. We're trying to give them for one weekend, because for what I understand, uh, for a person that leaves a toxic relationship or a violent relationship, you're in a state of shock. You're trying to leave in the night with the kids, and you leave everything behind. And sometimes I basically thought at first that victims of domestic violence were often poorer than me, and they're not, or often less educated, or I think I was passing a judgment, and I realized that there's a lot of it, including my situation. I thought my domestic violence was an exception, but I realized that it happens a lot. And yeah, the idea is that if you get to relax for a weekend, then perhaps it's going to be easier for you to learn how to put your life back together. It's like a little bit of a puzzle that's all on the floor, and maybe by relaxing, you'll be able to um, gather the pieces a little better, faster, easier. So we're offering a weekend. We are working with a house that hosts women, like a shelter, basically, in Montreal. And they're bringing women and children to our facility, which offers yoga, meditation, all kinds of activities for the kids and for the mom. Yeah, it's just that, to me, is it pays. It pays a lot here.
Mm. Your dream would be to build a whole facility, a
So we
beautiful.
want to build an eco house that's 100% self-sufficient. And the idea is, when, especially us Canadian, when we think of vacation, we think of the beach, we think of summer, we think of hot. So the idea is to have a greenhouse all year long. So you grow tomatoes and whatnot, is part of the therapy. So you come and you watch your, because it's 2 months, I think, that they spend in the shelter. So for those 2 months, they would come every weekend and watch their tomatoes grow and maybe eat them at the end of the 2 months. I don't know. But the idea is it's summer all year long at the house.
That's brilliant.
Yep.
It's in being a Canadian in January, to go even in Toronto to the zoo, where there's the
Yeah,
warm place where the
exactly. With the
orangutans live.
butterflies.
It changes your temperament completely. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
it does something like so. And the fact that it's self-sufficient, then, taking away the humidity under the greenhouse brings water that's warm, so it'll feed a jacuzzi, and everything is supplying everything, basically. But before we built it, we have Lemay. It's a big architect firm here in Canada. They're very well known and well respected, and they're the ones who are gonna supervise the project. But yeah, with the pandemic, it's like everything went gaga, like construction and costs and whatnot. So we're just waiting, and for now we're renting houses here and there, and we're
Great that you're
having
still
some.
trying to do it. That's good.
Yeah,
It's
we're still doing it. We're offering the service. It's just we don't have the greenhouse yet, but one day maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
I hope so. I hope you get a benefactor with lots of money who wakes up and says, I need to help them.
Exactly. That'd be dope.
When you encounter those people, are you able to figure out how to say the right thing? Are you able to?
Well, I'm a counselor, so I know how to make them talk. The the that's what I like about counseling, is you make people talk. You listen. You get to learn so many things about so many people and so many cultures and so many way of thinking, and it's just fascinating. Even talking to you right now, I'm having such a great time. Like, I know I'm talking a lot, but like, the interview is about me, not you, but still, the little that we did talk to each other, like hearing you, is fascinating to me, because you have the other side of the story from mine.
I think what's kept you going all of these years is your curiosity,
Yeah,
your
well.
boundless curiosity, I think, and you're
Mhm.
interested in people. It's so great. But
It's fascinating
can
to
you
learn
help
about
people though?
cultures.
Your work must be really hard. Like, can you help them? Is it
Who?
does it break your heart being a
Addiction?
yeah.
No, yeah, of course you help people. That's what's beautiful about it. Like, some people helped me when I was using, and it's it's night and day when you stop using. It's like you're given a new key to life, like, because at the end of addiction, most people want to die. So you go that far down, you're so grateful just to be alive, just to not have to use today, and to be alive is like, yes. So on top of it, if projects like, you know, you get to help another person, and that's what keeps you sober, basically, is helping others. You'll see that a lot with sober people. They'll try to help others. That's how you stay sober.
And your example must give people hope when you're counseling too, I would
Yeah,
think.
but it's not, I don't know. I don't think it makes a good counselor if you have experience in addiction. Meaning we have counselor at the treatment center that have no problem with addiction, you know, but it doesn't make you a better counselor because you've been there. But I don't know, it's so much fun to get to discover people and to see them at their like most vulnerable state. And 21 days later, they're a brand new person and they have a new lease on life. Like, it's just, wow, there's nothing more inspiring than that.